Instagram says it's already rolling out more safety features for children and teens. That's in addition to the Take a Break feature. Have a look there, which launched yesterday in the US, the UK, and Canada, and some other English-speaking countries. When people spend too much time scrolling, the app will suggest moving on to some other activity. Instagram says users will soon no longer be able to tag or mention the accounts of teens who don't follow them. Starting next year, meantime, Instagram says it will let parents see how much time their children spend on the app. It will also let parents set time limits. Sarah Fryer joins us now from San Francisco. She's the author of No Filter, the inside story of Instagram. You know, as a parent, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, all these things we just heard, really? It's the end of 2021 and we've all had our children home through a pandemic, but you know, I digress. I want to deal first with the problem that you outlined in your book, which has been an eye-opening for so many of us, that these corporate decisions within the company led to real-world damage for many of us and our children. What did you find?
Well, in the structure of Instagram itself, there are all these things that Masseri has been talking about, Paula, adding these reminders, these limits, maybe giving people the option to block certain people or not show up certain places. But the problem that I found in my book is it's in the very structure of the app. It's the incentives built into Instagram to keep you on the app for longer, to keep you following rabbit holes of interest that you started to pursue. Instagram is essentially becoming a lot more like Facebook and that recommendation engine power that we've seen on Facebook, the same recommendation engine that we've seen turn people to anti-vaccination or QAnon or any of those things on Facebook. That's happening on Instagram too in a very different way. Instagram is an image-based network. It's about inspiration. And when you follow accounts, it'll suggest other accounts for you to follow. And those don't have to be your friends. They don't have to be your family. And they don't have to follow you back. It's about influencers. It's about people who are presenting themselves as authorities on issues, whether that's crash dieting or wellness, when it's not really science-backed. And so there are so many problems that relate to children on Instagram, but also to everybody else, in that we go there to learn from people who purport to be experts who are not.
Yeah, I've been so really alarmed by even people who are influencers on Instagram saying how much they don't like their attachment to it and their addiction to it. You know, there have been a lot of comparisons to big tobacco here, Meta's stand right now, and you just heard him say it, right? They say they welcome regulation for all of social media. Does that seem disingenuous to you? I mean, what are they getting at there?
They're getting at the fact that they don't want to make these decisions themselves because they know that whatever they say or whatever they do will be critiqued because there is no perfect way to solve these problems. They would prefer the government to tell them what to do, and then in turn, that will make all their competitors have to do it too. So if regulation comes, it won't affect just Instagram, it'll affect Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, and everyone will be on a level playing field, as opposed to Facebook just responding, I should say Meta, responding to all of the complaints and scandals that come out and fixing things on the fly to put out fires.
Yeah, I get it. The regulation gives them some cover. There is a good point to be made there. So many young people now are on things like Snapchat and TikTok, not even necessarily anymore on Instagram. What do you see at the crux of the heart of this issue, though, in terms of getting to that solution? I know in the United States and Europe, they're studying the problem quite closely, but what can be done?
Well, people need to understand, and there needs to be some public education about how these social media products work, how they draw you in, why you're being shown what you're shown. You have to remember that when we use Instagram, we're using it passively. We're trying to make up for time when we're bored, scrolling through, letting it serve us whatever it thinks we want to see. And in those moments of just passive scrolling, that's where we can be inspired into doing things that we wouldn't naturally want to do, that Instagram thinks we want to see to boost its engagement. Because the more they keep us attached to the app, the more ads we see, the more time we spend talking to people, the more important it becomes to our lives. So it's in their interest to show us whatever content will keep us hooked. And I think if teens understand that, if adults understand that, that could go a long way toward helping the problem. But there also needs to be more effort put towards age verification on Instagram. I've spoken to kids as young as 9 who have used Instagram for a while, or who have already been very widely connected there, and there's nothing kicking them off. There's no real check on that has worked yet. So Adam Mosseri is right to emphasize that, but it's been years that they've known that this is a problem, and you would hope that they'd be closer to a solution by now.
Yeah, it also assumes that parents have a choice as to whether or not to allow their children on the social media platforms, but to a certain extent, they do not have a choice in the sense that it is their entire social sphere. And so a lot of parents have voiced concern about this, that the idea is to have those age protections in there and that surveillance by parents. Thank you so much for this inside look. I'm sure that we're going to continue talking about this for weeks to come. Appreciate it.